David will be talking about the tool called Sureshot. So as a little bit of an intro for David, I'm just going to move on to the next screen here. We will close the poll and move on to the next screen. All right, so Sureshot. So David York is the founder of Sureshot, and he's been an Oracle Eloqua customer, employee, and partner for 17 years. And so while he was at Eloqua, he worked closely with the sports and entertainment teams to sell Eloqua. So some of you may have worked with him if you've been around for a little while. Today, he leads Sureshot, a technology company that was first born out of his firsthand experience helping customers to maximize the value of their marketing automation investments. So Sureshot's applications are, really tied into Eloqua and other marketing automation tools in your stack to help drive data-driven campaigns.
Well, thank you, Jason, for that kind introduction. I certainly am excited and happy to be with everyone today. Thanks so much for taking the time. So I want to just talk a bit about Sureshot for sports marketing. So as Jason mentioned in the introduction, I have been in the Eloqua ecosystem for about 17 years, which at some level is far too long, depending on what day it is. But I've been around and understand kind of all the different challenges from a customer standpoint. I also worked at Eloqua for a number of years, actually worked very closely with the sports entertainment team, actually selling Eloqua into many of the different sports franchises. And then, and I've been on the partner side for about the last 9-10 years. So I have an interesting perspective to kind of see all of that. And what we really did from an Eloqua perspective, from a Sureshot perspective, is really, kind of drive into this idea that, customers are really adopting this technology as you all know, a short period of time ago, it was much less technology than you have today. But what we saw from the customer standpoint was kind of what this statistic kind of tends to state, which is that almost everybody that's using marketing technology does not feel that they're getting the full value out of that. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the primary ones from our perspective is different elements of functionality and capabilities that are really missing to kind of tie the whole thing together. So, right, if you buy a number of different products and maybe, holistically, those products solve a large majority of the solutions of the problems that you're trying to address, or to run the campaigns that you're trying to get out the door. But if there are breakdowns in the way that those products connect and integrate, or if they're missing features and functionality, right, that takes away from your feeling of getting the full value out of what you're using. And so that's why Sureshot really integrates and connects into these technologies. Primarily, we definitely work very heavily on the Eloqua side, but we also have integrations to, Marketo and HubSpot, Salesforce, and the like. So we're not kind of, one integration, but we do, focus on tools and solutions that help customers get more out of their stack. So at a high level, right, areas where we really concentrate, we think about this world as the automation of data-driven campaigns, and that's what customers are really trying to do. Obviously, all of our marketing is data-driven nowadays, and our number one goal of any marketer, and the number one task that any marketer is faced with, is usually always to get the next campaign out the door, right? Because those campaigns are going to drive leads, they're going to drive revenue, they're going to drive conversion. So in that context, right, the key elements of that, it comes around, okay, if everything's data driven, I've got to make sure that my data is prepared to be able to use and leverage for these campaigns properly. And then I need to be able to take that data and activate it as part of my content. So in other words, how do I use the data properly for personalization, dynamic content, kind of all those different elements to create, right, very targeted messaging and better customer experience. And then lastly, just the act of running campaigns has some issues as we expand out our marketing tech stack. So the ability to then take that different elements of data and the different tools in our stack and get those campaigns out the door in an entirely automated fashion. So that's where we, focus. So we've got a couple really specific solutions that I want to talk about related to these three challenges that I feel, line up really well with the sports marketing world and some of the different challenges they face. So let's start with kind of the data preparation side, right? If you have bad data coming in to your campaign as a starting point, the results of that campaign are going to be impacted negatively, right? So this is where it all starts from our perspective. We have a product called Sureshot Command, and the impetus behind this is really kind of twofold. One is most marketing systems that are out there, whether it be Eloqua, HubSpot, Marketo, whatever they are not super focused on giving customers insight into quality of the data. And secondarily, the bigger challenge is when you've identified a segment and you've put together the list of folks that you want to market to, when you're sitting out there getting ready to send this, most marketers don't have a great idea of the quality of that individual segment. In other words, you don't have the ability to predict, is this campaign that I'm about to run and the data I'm about to plug into that campaign going to produce a good result or not? Because you don't necessarily have insights into the quality of the data, the completion of the data, and so forth. So what Command is designed to do is give you like that quick snapshot of each and every segment that you're wanting to market to, and help you first understand the quality, and then second, kind of fix the quality in some different areas. So we connect into, in addition to showing you the data elements, we're connecting into real-time validation tools to make sure that the emails are validated and of high quality. They're not going to put you into spam traps and impact your reputation negatively. And then also phone validation. So obviously when someone raises their hand, you pass that person off to sales. Sales isn't looking at this going, why are you sending over this bad data? Because we've now validated phone numbers. And then we're also working on a couple of additional things for data appending. So if you go in and say, look, I'm missing key elements of my data or key pieces of information that are going to help me to do personalization or to better segment. So we're adding on a business and consumer data append later in this year that will give you the ability to do that. In addition to the dashboard, as I mentioned, phone and email validation, this tool allows you to integrate these validations in multiple places. So along with the dashboard, we have the validation, but that validation can also be integrated into different elements of your kind of marketing stack or your process. So we integrate those as apps onto the Eloqua campaign or program canvas. We then also can support like SFTP list uploads and JavaScript integration so that you can have validations on your web forms in real time, checking for the quality of emails and phone numbers. And we also do this with multiple vendors. So we have customers that come to us with an existing vendor, great, we can plug into that. And then we also have a stable of our own vendors that we utilize for these validations. So the key from our standpoint as it comes to this data preparation concept or step is making sure that you have, valid, complete, accurate data as before you do anything with these individual segments into a campaign, right? Garbage in, garbage out. You put bad data in the top of the campaign, the results are going to be below what you would want them to be. So we feel that, this data preparation step, specifically as we're thinking about how data driven all of our marketing campaigns are day in and day out. So the second element is around activation of content. And primarily, we do this in a lot of different ways. We have some products that focus on, let me just back up. We have some products that focus on taking content from external sources like your CMS and other places and creating highly personalized email content as well. So if that's something you're like, yes, we're really wanting to activate and personalize our email content better, definitely reach out to me. But particularly just for today and for the sake of time, I wanted to focus on, the idea around SMS and MMS messaging. So this is a product we've had connected in and integrated into Eloqua for a long time. Again, we also have it integrated into other platforms to send SMS and or MMS directly off of an Eloqua campaign and program canvas. So we integrate, as I mentioned, to multiple different kind of best-in-class gateways. Twilio primarily, Nexmo, which is a great gateway as well. They have a heavy concentration over in Asia. Burst is actually Australian specific, but we have flexibility there. And the idea here is, the ability to do really, really heavily personalized SMS or MMS messages directly on, as a step in an Eloqua campaign, just like you would send an email. So we do things like field merges for contacts and custom objects. We have integrations to create automated URL shortening, so you can basically track engagement down to the individual recipient level. We have a lot of flexibility around keywords and auto responses, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And then we save every inbound and outbound message into a custom object in Eloqua for your ability to report and segment further on that data. So a lot of flexibility there. I would say, there are other solutions on the marketplace. The reasons why customers choose our solution around text messaging is, number one, the support for MMS, and number two is just the level of flexibility we have. We even also support dynamic content in the actual message body. So you could say, if this person is a full season ticket holder versus a partial season ticket holder, you could actually change the message up dynamically based on that information. And instead of going to create multiple different types of messages for all those, you could do a single message and use dynamic content rules inside of the message builder to do some personalization based on that type of content and message. As I mentioned, auto responses. So we have a lot of flexibility here for inbound to support kind of all the inbound types of SMS campaigns. So we have default auto responses, we have keyword, global keyword auto responses, as well as individual campaign level auto responses. And then we also have field merges and prioritization of auto responses. So you can do a lot of different flexible things as it relates to inbound messages and auto responses. And then lastly, field mapping. It's not super exciting, but there's a couple of things that are interesting. We do some auto response mapping for opt-outs. So we're capturing that in and then mapping that back into Eloqua, and then the application will read that data. If you have international contacts, which I'm sure many of you do, if you wanted to text message them, we do some automatic phone number formatting for international contacts. As I mentioned, we save all of that. So, and then one thing around messaging that's really interesting to us, and we're certainly doing some expansion here in 2020, is this idea around not only addition of new messaging services, so things like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, WeChat, etc. So we'll be expanding out into doing more than just SMS messages. But one of the requests we've had from a number of different customers is around person-to-person engagement. So the use case there, and I've kind of got a little screenshot here. The use case there is a marketing team is sending out a mass message to a segment of recipients. And when recipients re-engage or engage with that message, reply to that message, I want to then seamlessly kind of transfer that individual to an agent internally, a salesperson, a customer success, whomever it may be, to actually start picking up that conversation and have kind of this one-to-one interaction. So, and maybe that's that could be a standalone user interface, or it could be something primarily that's more importantly, it's probably baked into and embedded into your CRM, where those salespeople or those customer service folks are actually working out of. So that's really something that is kind of high on our list as well from an expansion standpoint. If you have interest or are curious about that use case, would love to have a conversation and reach out about that. But we're certainly kind of keen on the whole world of messaging and how that's evolving and expanding. And again, you're probably seeing this internally in your own campaigns, is like that is becoming more and more how customers are wanting to interact, not just at a mass marketing level, but also at an individual agent and customer service level. So supporting that in line and in the flow of marketing from our perspective is something that's really, really interesting. So customers are seeing results, right? Just a couple of different things here, but our from an SMS product, we see huge response rate increases from just using email alone when you add in that other element and that other channel. When it comes to dirty data, the command product, again, being able to validate and catch all of the garbage data, bad email addresses, and so forth, see a huge reduction in that, which leads itself directly to the idea of sender score. So Jason was kind of talking about earlier in the call, how to get your deliverability and keep your sender score up. This is one of the elements that will impact that. If you're sending messages out that are bouncing, or you're sending to what they would consider spam traps or bad emails, right? All of that stuff is going to have that impact. So the use of command really, can help drive that improvement across the from a deliverability standpoint. You don't want to do all the work getting those IP addresses warmed and everything right, and then have a bunch of bad emails get sent out, and it immediately has a negative impact. And then personalization. I mentioned kind of our personalization solution. So we see huge increases in that. Part of it is just because the personalization and the dynamic elements of personalization that we provide are actually are things that you can't naturally do because of the level of manual effort it would provide. So in other words, being able to personalize email newsletters and content down to an individual recipient across hundreds and thousands of recipients. And so that's kind of an interesting element as well, is just how can we personalize down to the person. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to take up too much time, and I know you've got other topics to cover here as well. So but thank you so much for the opportunity. Again, if you have specific needs or use cases in these areas, would love to talk to you. And if you have other needs or use cases that we didn't talk about, one of the things that we are really focused on is just figuring ways to creatively solve some of these challenges. And if there's either solutions that we have, we do a ton of integration work to try and help solve some of these challenges for customers. So again, thanks everybody for the time. Thanks for attending. And we'll hopefully talk to you soon.